It's Thursday. We got a football game tonight, a whole lot of NHL, a baseball game, and, well, pure excitement. I'm the Prez, Lawrence Presman. You're watching The Betting Edge with the Prez. You can find us every day, Monday to Friday, at WagerTalk TV, our YouTube channel. The largest YouTube channel in the space on the planet, and we're excited as hell about that. And really, it's a lot because of you guys, the listeners. I just want to give a shout out to all of you. You watching our shows, it's so greatly appreciated. The comments are wonderful. I feel like we're all a big family, so thank you all for rolling with WagerTalk. Today's show, 2 college football games, the Yankee game tonight, and 2 NFL games. Matthew Joseph with us from sportsmemo.com, and of course, Robert the Hair Veno. I'm going to bring them both in, and let's get the show on the road. Hey, Matt, what's going on, brother? Nice studio, looking good like usual. Like the color of your shirt.
Yes, hoping to bring good fortune to my Eagles this weekend.
Well, it's a big weekend for them. I mean, it's really it's even more than a 2-game swing, that Philadelphia game, because, obviously one team wins, the other team loses. That's, a 2-game swing, so to speak. But I mean, this could come down to tiebreakers at the end, and you don't want to lose these divisional battles, especially between Philly and Dallas. So good luck to you and your Eagles. You can talk now, Matt.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's even more important because they got a 3rd road game next week, and I'm not liking their chances on a 3rd road game of 3 straight.
Who are they playing next week?
They are in Buffalo next week.
Yeah, that's going to be a low-scoring game. Rob Veno!
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your shirt, dude. I've never seen a man wear a shirt with his own name on it. Unless, of course, they're professional athletes.
Absolutely. Promoting our own brand here, Rob Veno Sports, with the Sports Memo logo in the background, of course. So we're double promoting on this show, Prez. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to do such a thing.
Rob, anytime, baby. We love having you on. Your analysis is unbelievable. Slide to the left a little, though, so you can center yourself in the screen. Guys, let's get to it. Let's start right off the bat with college football. Duke on the road playing UVA. Virginia's -3. The over and under 45. Both teams are 4-2. I'll go to you first, Matt. Talk to me, baby. I mean, I see the Virginia right behind us. So is that a sign of what's about to come out of your mouth?
Not necessarily. I'm wondering about what the mindset of the Cavaliers is after last week. We talked about the Miami game. We warned everybody that was a stinky line because everybody's like, well, Virginia's better than Miami, and they didn't play like it. The 2 big developments was, one, Bryce Hall getting hurt, the all-world corner. His career's done in Charlottesville. So now the defense is going to have to make up for his loss. The Devontae Cross kid's going to replace him. He originally started out as an offensive player when he went to Virginia, so we'll see how he does. Perkins continues to take a ton of hits. I mean, the guy ran the ball 17 times last week. He's getting sacked because his offensive line's terrible. You have to wonder how much he's holding up. And you have to wonder what this team's mindset is after losing Bryce Hall, who was on the other side, you've got a Duke team we can't figure out. Are they the team that went into Blacksburg and crushed Virginia Tech? Or are they the team that lost at home to Pittsburgh the week after that? So it's a Duke team. I like the edge in coaching to Duke on the road. We lost the hook. There's no longer 3.5s. I like the Quentin Harris kid, but I really have a lot of question marks about Virginia entering this matchup Saturday.
Rob Veno, any thoughts on this game? I've got none. It's an outright pass for me.
Yeah, if there was a game, that you just throw away, Prez, I would say this is it because they're so evenly matched. I mean, you could make a comment about the Duke schedule not being great since they played Alabama, but you can make the same comment about Virginia's schedule. Power rating wise, just to give you a little bit of a background here, the power ratings that I keep so far, opponent strength of schedule actually favors Duke by about 1.5 points simply because they played Alabama, which is the best team in the nation. That skews it a little bit. But really, when you go over the list of opponents, they're very, very equal. Inside the ACC, they're not equal. Virginia's so far but certainly fundamentally on the field, X's and O's wise, they're like mirror images. Schedule wise, they're like mirror images. There's one common opponent here, which is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a pretty good defense, guys, ranked 19th nationally in total defense. Guess what? Both teams scored 30 points against Pittsburgh. So it's even right down the middle for both. Matt's comment about Bryce Hall, I think, is huge. Certainly when you lose him on the corner, I would expect David Cutcliffe to test that corner, not only throwing the football, but running the football. Bryce Hall's a great tackler. He's on NFL radars as a draftable guy in the first couple of rounds. So, I mean, you're not just talking about any old corner here. And the good news for Virginia is that Hassis Dubois looks like he's going to play. Bronco Mendenhall expects him to play. Virginia's going to need a big play wide receiver in this contest. To me, if I'm just going to break it down for on the field, guys, it comes down to quarterback pressure. Virginia's reliant upon it. They've got 25 sacks this season. Duke doesn't allow it. They've only allowed 6 sacks. Something's got to give there. I mean, Quentin Harris, much like Bryce Perkins, they're mobile quarterbacks. He doesn't get himself into a lot of trouble getting sacked, so that's going to be an interesting matchup there. The line is perfect. My power ratings made the game 3. The numbers, 3. So I don't know really where to go with this. If you were to just add up what the odds maker's telling us, they're telling us 24-21 Virginia. I could certainly see that.
I want to talk to you, Matt. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about this Duke game because I am fascinated by the total. Before I get into that, I just want to make mention to everybody. WagerTalk and Sports Memo have some big news coming. A little teaser. The last week of October, we're going to be changing a whole bunch of stuff around for that week only. And it's going to be of massive benefit to all of our listeners, viewers, and customers. So stay tuned for that. As well, I'm working on something big too with WagerTalk, and I'll keep you guys posted about that. Matt, this total here, and we're going to talk about the total in the next game as well, is 45.5. And I get it, okay? There's some good defense going on in this game, but, Duke goes into GT. Duke plays GT, puts up a 41. Rob spoke about both these teams putting up over 30 against Pittsburgh. Virginia Tech, Duke put up a 45. Before that, a 41 and a 45. And Virginia, look, they put up a 9 spot against Miami and looked terrible. They put up 20 against Notre Dame and let 35 in. And they've put up a 28, a 31, and even a 52. This line, this total seems a bit low based on really what both the defense and offense of these teams are doing throughout the season so far. Are you doing anything totals-wise?
Well, so I will in the future based off this game. I want to see how Virginia compensates for the loss of Bryce Hall. Their linebacking core has more sacks than I believe all but 14 FBS teams alone, just the linebackers. So what this means is maybe, they get a lot of pressure with the front 7, but are the guys open quick enough because the lockdown corner's not out there? On the UVA side, they can't run the ball. They've tried. Their offensive line doesn't open up holes. Wayne Talapapa was really good the first couple games. Then he disappeared. Mike Collins probably deserves more carries, but he fumbled against Miami. There's a lot of reasons to like Virginia's passing game. As Rob said, Hassis Dubois is huge. Joe Reed is huge. But does Bryce Perkins have the time to get them open in space? So I could see why the under is the lean here because I think both these teams can play conservative here. But I'm going to watch what Virginia's defense does now to compensate for the loss of Bryce Hall before I jump into future totals with them.
Guys, Tony Finn, 20-7 in NFL this season, 20-7 on the entire year. In NFL this season. That's as good as it gets over at WagerTalk and Sports Memo, our number one NFL expert. And Tony has been with us for years and years and years. I used to own a company called Who to Bet On, and Tony was with me over at Who to Bet On as well. And I'm not kidding you. I've seen Tony lay down a 68% NFL season. This is his sport. He's also 9-4 in baseball on the playoffs. He's up in college football. You guys can get a month of Tony's All Access Pass for only $225. That's $100 off. Just head over to WagerTalk.com. Use the promo code Tony225. That's Tony225. Rob Veno, let's go to you first on this Kentucky-Georgia game. The line is Kentucky plus 25.5 on the road, and the total is 46.5. I don't know if you have any statistics on hand or in that amazing mind of yours, but we're seeing a line that is more than half the total. That doesn't happen very often. I mean, think about that. You know, you have games where teams are -3 and the total is 60. The total here is 46.5, Kentucky plus 25. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, that same scenario, Prez, will happen in Alabama games. In fact, this week it does happen in an Alabama game. I think the number's 34.5 and the total is only 62. All it indicates is that, you know, the favorite's going to do all the scoring and the underdog's not going to do much. And that's probably the case here. I think the first thing you have to question in this game, whichever side of the fence you're on, between Georgia and Kentucky, and it's difficult to gauge, but what do you think Georgia's mood is going to be? They just come off of a loss, not only a loss, but a loss where you're a 21-point favorite against South Carolina, and a game where South Carolina loses their starting quarterback in the third quarter, a game where you outgain them by 200-plus yards, but a game where your quarterback, Jake Fromm, throws 3 picks, fumbles once, 3 of those times deep in Kentucky territory, wind up losing. Now they sit outside that 4-team playoff, looking in. They can get back in. I'm sure an SEC team always has ways to get back into the mix. But are they dejected? Does Kirby Smart get them to play here? If he does, there's no way, guys, in my mind, that Lynn Bowden comes out and runs option offense, the new wide receiver quarterback for Kentucky due to injury, and runs option offense against this Georgia defense, which ranks 6th in the nation nationally. It was nice to run for 330 against Arkansas last week when Arkansas had little time to prepare for an option offense. Kentucky runs the ball 54 times, only throws it 12. That type of ratio won't work against Georgia. Georgia's owned this series, in recent years. So no reason to think that they couldn't own it again. Even when Kentucky was a bowl team last year with Benny Snell and Josh Allen and all those guys, they still lost by 17 in this contest. So Georgia can dominate if they want to come to play. Personally, I think they will because, like I say, an SEC team always seems to be able to find their way back into the college playoff mix. Just fundamentally, this doesn't add up for Kentucky, guys. Last week was nice against Arkansas, but that stuff is not going to work against the Georgia defense this week.
Matthew, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, so the irony is I'm mid-major Matt, but I'm 4-1 in SEC games this year. I don't know how that works. Maybe I'm just betting on the mid-major level teams in that conference. And Kentucky's one of them. You know, I had the under last week in the Arkansas game, and Rob's right. You know, the Lynn Bowden experiment worked for 1 week, and then unless they're going to add a lot of wrinkles, it's probably not going to work against Georgia. But as he also said, you have to wonder what the mood is. I mean, are they motivated to and get up for this one? They're home, so you figure they should. But then again, does the crowd show up? I'm guessing they will. UGA is a very good fan base. Maybe this is a first half play. Maybe this is a first quarter play. But then again, if they're hungover, then you're in trouble early on. Maybe they wake up in the second half. So maybe you sit out. You hope that they're hungover in the first half. Halftime, you take the second half line when they get ripped into in the locker room. And this is one of those situations where Georgia runs and hide later on, unless they come out hot in the beginning. So maybe I'm looking at like a halftime play here, depending upon how the first 2 quarters go.
He's Matt Joseph, Rob Veno with us. Both can be found at sportsmemo.com. I've got a promo coming up for Rob Veno shortly. Yankee game. Yankees hosting Houston. I tell you, I mean, I want to see Garrett Cole pitch every game. Flat out. Like, I don't think, I could be wrong here, and we'll talk about the game in a second, but I don't think we've seen an athletic performance, maybe in decades, in any sport like what Garrett Cole is doing right now. I think 26 games in a row without a loss. I think 19-0 winning. 20-something games with 10 strikeouts each game, an ERA in the low ones over that time period. It's utterly mind-blowing, and a good thing he ain't pitching for Houston tonight. Greinke versus Tanaka. Rob, I'll go to you first. Minus 127, give or take, for the Yanks. They really, really need to win this game to get this series tied up. What are you doing?
Yeah, absolute desperation for the Yankees here, Prez. So that would be the lead. And it's funny to think that, Zach Greinke becomes the weak link of this Houston Astros staff after you watch Cole and Verlander. And Greinke, of course, had a bad outing in the divisional series. Enough rest here. I think he could bounce back, but I don't like the fact that, these two guys, the total is 8.5.
Yeah.
It's extremely windy here on the East Coast. Wind could have an effect in this game on fly balls. That stadium is kind of weird, guys, because it doesn't tend to play the same way throughout 9 innings. That wind could change, in a heartbeat. So it's very difficult to gauge. The fact that the total hasn't moved off of 8.5 kind of tells you that the betting public so far, even the sharp money, isn't convinced that the wind is going to go one way or the other in this contest. I think both of these pitchers are hittable. If you're not a strikeout pitcher against either one of these offenses, you're in danger. If they can put the ball in play, that makes for run production. For me, I think 8.5 is a little bit too low in this contest. Now, the Yankees do get the benefit of having the day off yesterday to rest the bullpen. If Tanaka's unable to get through, more than 4 innings, it's very easy, once again, to march out Tommy Kahnle, to march out Zach Britton, to march out Aroldis Chapman, Ottavino, all those guys. So that's a benefit to them. But I do think this game's going to find its way to 5-4 somehow, some way, with these two guys on the hill. So for me, it would probably be a look at over, but even stronger toward the Yankees, just out of the desperation factor.
And I agree with you, Rob. I think we're going to get the Yankees playing their best game of the year. And yeah, it's amazing to think that Zach Greinke is the weak link in this Houston rotation. I like the Yankees as well. I like the under in this game too. I think Houston's going to struggle to get a lot of runs off of Tanaka. Matthew, talk to me, my brother.
I will disagree with both of you. To me, it's either Astros or nothing in this game, because we think that Greinke's the weak link. Well, he's not that weak of a link. I think
that's actually the point, Matt.
Well, I'm saying that when you can get Greinke at plus money in a game like this, I'm going to jump on that most likely, because, just because Tanaka's had a couple of good stretches in a row and he's got the good postseason history, like all of a sudden I'm not going to forget the fact that he was mediocre for, a good part of the season this year. And I understand the Yankees have the better bullpen. They trot these guys out, but they have to also be careful if they want to extend this thing. They're going to have 4 straight days, so they got to save some arms. I know that they're down 2-1, so they're not really going to do that. But, to me, the value is on the Astros in this one. And if you're not going to take the Astros, then I'm probably just going to sit this out, because, I like Greinke in this matchup. I think he's the better pitcher than Tanaka.
You're watching The Betting Edge with the Prez, everybody. You can find us at WagerTalk TV, the largest amount of subscribers in our space by far. Really quickly, Tony, again, 20-7 this NFL season, 9-4 in the playoffs. He's got to play tonight in baseball. He's up in college football. You guys can get 1 month of his plays for $225. That's $100 off of his regular price. Use the promo code Tony225 and make sure to use it at WagerTalk. Promo change, Rob Veno's turn. Check it out, guys. It's on the bottom of the screen. Matt, let's go to you first. Houston versus Indianapolis. One of my favorite games on the board. My thoughts have already been discussed on the NFL presidential address. I will go straight to you, my friend. What are you liking in this baby?
Well, Houston's been playing very good, and they're coming off of all these emotional games in a row, and they're playing all the game against Kansas City, and that's, you're going to get up for that one, and you've got an Indy team coming off a bye week. I like what I see from Indy. I think they should hopefully get healthier. I want to see what Darius Leonard's doing. He did just clear concussion protocol, so I'm guessing he'll be ready on Sunday. But I think that, the steam here that's gone to Indy, I don't mind it. I kind of like it because I think Indy coming off a bye week, getting healthy, T.Y. Hilton should hopefully be healthier for another week. I think that Houston can't keep getting up for all these games in a row, and I just think maybe there's a flat spot here potentially, and Indy can take advantage of it.
Yeah. Rob Veno, you agree or disagree with Matt?
Yeah, I agree. I think the health is the biggest key here, guys. Remember, they were gutted up the middle defensively. Now, Malik Hooker doesn't come back. He's gone for the season. But Darius Leonard, interesting to read this morning on Darius Leonard a little bit. Yes, he's cleared concussion protocol. Yes, he's going to play. But he contemplated giving up the NFL because of the prolonged headache for 2.5 weeks. Couldn't get it out of his system, though. He's going to be in the lineup. T.Y. Hilton, much healthier with the bye week. Marlon Mack, guys, was running injured for a couple of weeks there. He's more healthy. So I like that. A couple of things on the field that I like a lot. Indianapolis's offensive line is probably the most underrated offensive line in the NFL. You just don't hear enough about Quentin
It's
Nelson.
the best offensive line in all of football.
Yeah, they're tremendous.
Except for maybe the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
They will protect Jacoby Brissett. They will open up holes. Houston will not be able to pressure, in my estimation here. And the Houston secondary is an absolute sieve, allowing about 270 yards per game. I think Brissett, with a healthy T.Y. Hilton, can find guys downfield here. So I like Indy's offense. That being said, Deshaun Watson has showed us time and time again he doesn't need a ton of protection to put up a lot of points.
Well, actually, sorry to interrupt there, Rob. I actually think he's better without that protection, and I think it's similar with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, you get those guys running around, breakdown everywhere, breakdown in the linebackers. The safeties and DBs can't cover for more than 4 or 5 seconds. I think it's a good thing for Houston if Deshaun Watson gets pressure, just not sacked. We want a running Deshaun Watson if you're playing on Houston. Sorry.
Yeah, that's no problem, Prez, because the point's well taken, and the same goes for a guy like Russell Wilson. Broken plays turn into plays with these three guys. So it's good. I mean, it's nice to have Laramie Tunsil there. He does give them added protection, helps in the running game a little bit. But if the play breaks down, Watson's got the receivers in Hopkins and Fuller. I mean, if Will Fuller could catch a pass last week, they would have scored even more points. I was going to try and make the point during this analysis, guys, that Houston comes off of a pair of games where they played paper soft defenses, the Atlanta Falcons and the Kansas City Chiefs, and they ran up big totals point-wise. But when you look at the list of common opponents, Indianapolis has played those same teams. Both of these teams this year have played Atlanta, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Both of these teams are 3-0 against the spread against those particular teams. So they've had the same amount of success. I just think Indianapolis, with their players back, is a better team fundamentally all around. Like their defense, they survived these injuries. The bye week helps. So I'm on the Colts at home here.
Last game on the board, guys. Before we get into that, Rob Veno, 36-22, his last 58 college football bets. That's a hair under 63%. Really been in the zone for weeks now. We have an all-access pass for him, $69 for 1 week of all his plays. No coupon required at all. Just head over to Sports Memo. Click on Handicappers Rob Veno, and there it is, $69 for 1 week. Matt, you're on the show next Thursday. I likely will not be here next Thursday. Want to host it?
If you tell me how to, sure.
Right now I got Drew hosting. I'll check with him to see if he's super busy, but I mean, you're just a born radio man, brother. When you come on our shows, email me streaks you're on and whatnot. I'll get some promos up for you. New Orleans versus Chicago. Awesome game. New Orleans, this team is just winning in the most non-New Orleans-like fashion ever. Their defense is playing outstanding. Since Drew Brees went out, this team has held every opponent down, and Chicago's defense too. I mean, look, they lost to Oakland, and that was a surprising loss. but they got one of the best defenses in all of football. We have a total of 38. It's now dropped to 37.5, and I still think the play here is on the under. Chicago finds themselves at -3, and I lean on Chicago here, but I don't think I'm going to get to the window. Rob?
Yeah, it's an interesting game because I sort of lean towards Chicago too, Prez, but you have to keep power ratings to keep some kind of grounded bias or unbiased where these lines are concerned. And power ratings show me that Chicago should only be 1.5. Team opened 4, it's now 3. Certainly, I think that the guys who have bet this game the New Orleans way saw the same value. Probably a lot of numbers guys who thought the price was too high picked on the value, got it down to 3. Now at a field goal game, it's a little more interesting, but I agree with your first thought a little more. Under the total would seem to be the only way to play this game. Chicago's off the bye week because they had to go overseas to lose to the Raiders. Now they're back home. Teddy Bridgewater and the Saints are 4-0 since he took over. Like you said, really leaning on their defensive side of the football, playing it rather cautious on the offensive side, which is the same with Chicago. I mean, whether it's Trubisky or Daniel, it doesn't really matter. They can't seem to move the football into the end zone. So it looks like just a tug of war between the 20s here. For me, 37.5 indicates you have to really be something, I mean, in the 23-13, 20 to 14 range. It's not that far-fetched. Now, the weather's going to be good in Chicago. I was actually hoping for maybe a little bit of cold weather there to enhance an argument for Chicago. That's not going to happen. But again, with both defenses, the best units on the field, Sean Payton's he is the more creative play caller, which would give me pause in playing the Bears at this price tag. So for me, it would probably be under if I could.
Matt, what do you like in this one?
Well, I mean, the big thing is Alvin Kamara's status. I mean, Alvin Kamara's backup is Latavius Murray. He's not Alvin Kamara. They signed Zach Zenner, which is not exactly a great insurance policy. I mean, Kamara is part of the reason why this offense goes. And as Rob said, I was hoping for colder weather. I was hoping for winds and stuff like that because we know Teddy Bridgewater's arm isn't the best. That they're going to have a plan to try and take Michael Thomas out of it. And then you look at the rest of the Saints offense and you're like, who's going to beat you there? I don't love the Bears offense. I don't care if it's Daniel. I don't care if it's Trubisky. It doesn't really make a difference for me when I handicap this thing. I feel like the Bears, and I don't know what you guys do with regards to teasers and stuff like that, but I feel like there's not a bad teaser opportunity here to tease the Bears with some other stuff because I think the Bears can win. But if I want a little insurance, maybe you do a 6-point teaser and you make it a field goal.
I'm going to stop you there, Matt. You're a youngin' still, and I want to be you. But you can't tease any game across 0. Rob Veno, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, it would be difficult. To go ahead and a straight 6-point teaser, Prez, to go from 3 to +3. I mean, to lose by a field goal is the way we're talking about this game. It could be a coin flip field goal game either way. So for me, that would be a difficult way to go. Then you have to pay more juice to get more involved.
You lose a number. Remember, it's not a 6-point teaser if you tease past 0. It's now a 5-point teaser. Plus, I think offhand, it's under 5% difference at -3 to +3. So ultimately, teasing anything past 0 from a long-term perspective is going to annihilate you. But Matt, look, in isolated incidents, I understand it. I mean, if you think this game, you want to just protect yourself, I think you're better off taking Chicago on the money line rather than teasing it in the other direction. But my apologies to interrupt you, and I'm sure there are going to be some people commenting, why are you starting with Matt? I love Matt.
It's okay. That's fine. We're here to educate the people who watch the video. So, and it's just, yes, probably the money line would be great because I think Chicago's going to win this game. I'm just worried about, their offense isn't good enough, I think, to run away from this one. If for some reason New Orleans starts to get going, can Chicago keep up? Chicago's got the better defense in this one, and I think they'll keep them in almost every game. But, a little protection here and maybe take the money line then instead of teasing it, because I think the Bears are going to win this game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because if you look at any of the games on the board, this does have a 1-point feel to it in the sense that New Orleans and Chicago are both going to struggle in the red zone against both these stout defenses, and I do see field goals. I could legitimately see a 17-16 type of an ending. So yeah, I'm with you. I like, look, both Rob and I lean on Chicago, and if we can get them on the money line, that makes it a lot stronger. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. Both of you guys, Rob and Matt, are awesome. You can be found at sportsmemo.com. It's a pleasure having you on the show. Matt, I'll be in touch with you about hosting some shows while I'm away. Guys, make sure to watch the NFL Presidential Address. It's up now with Ralph Michaels. We take apart every game on the board. Also, the College Football Betting Show with Dave Koken and Teddy. And Puck Time. Puck Time for Thursday is up. It's Carmine and Alex and myself. And stay tuned. We've got some big news coming for the last week of October. So stay tuned for that. Matt, Rob, thanks, brothers.
Thank you, Prez.
Thank you.
Okay, later, boys.